On October 31st, 1992, the British channel BBC One aired a television movie. The film was produced for the BBC's anthology series, Screen One. However, when it was broadcast, the movie was presented as a live television show, leading many viewers to believe that the events in the film were real, causing significant controversy after the program aired. The BBC was inundated with calls from furious and frightened viewers. Although the movie can be found today on platforms like Prime Video in the United States, it has never been rebroadcast in the UK. And this is the recap. Welcome to Random Recaps. In this video, I am going to recap the movie. The film is presented as a broadcast attempting to show evidence of paranormal phenomena. The host, Michael Parkinson, introduces the first evidence of paranormal activity. We see two girls going to bed, but at 3 a.m. one of the sisters gets up, and then the girls start hearing banging sounds while objects move around. And one of the girls says, "Help me! Help me!" Their mother arrives and the video ends. The program launches an investigation at a house on Fox Hill Drive. In the studio, Dr. Lynn Pascoe joins the host to provide technical advice. Outside the house, we are introduced to Craig Charles, a well-known comedian, who interviews the homeowner Pamela Early and her daughters Suzanne and Kim. Pamela explains that objects break for no reason. Additionally, there is a foul smell coming from the tap, and many other things indicate that Pamela and her daughters are being tormented by a poltergeist.
Over to you, Michael.
Parkinson asks the doctor what can be done to help Pamela. She responds that the first thing to do is to believe in paranormal phenomena because, since people don't believe, they let the victims of poltergeists suffer. Parkinson introduces us to reporter Sarah Green, who is in the house to see if they can find anything paranormal, with the help of her team and electronic engineer Alan Demescu. Alan shows her that they have cameras in every room to capture any paranormal activity that might occur at that moment. After that, the cameraman shows Sarah that the camera is equipped to capture whatever may be in the darkness. Sarah and her team enter the house.
Hello?
The show displays a phone number for people to call in and share their paranormal stories. A girl calls in and tells Parkinson and Lynn that in the video shown at the beginning, she saw a figure standing next to the wall by the curtain. While Parkinson sends someone to search for the figure in the video, we return to Sarah. As she is with the girls, she starts to hear a noise.
Can you hear this? Are you hearing?
But it's just a prank by Craig. After the prank, Sarah explains the events that have been happening in the house, all of which began in the girls' room on December 28, 1991. Suzanne was the first to see something strange in the house. She says that she stood in front of her on the bed and just stared at her. Her mother told her it was probably just a dream, until days later, in her room, there were such loud noises that it seemed like the room would collapse. Kim gives an idea of what the noises were like. The mother didn't know what to say, so to calm the girls, she said it was just the pipes, which led Kim to nickname the ghost Mr. Pipes. Kim shows us that Mr. Pipes hides in the curtains.
What is it that's over there?
Pipes. That's where he hides.
Does he live there?
But lives in a room behind a sealed door. Kim shows us a drawing of Pipes that she made, and then they put it on the fridge. Pamela shows us that Suzanne also made some drawings, although Suzanne says she didn't make them.
It wasn't me. I don't even write like that.
In the studio, we learn that they have received more calls from people who claim to have seen the figure in the girls' room. They replay the video, and indeed, when the lights go out, we can see the figure in the window.
Right.
Now this is the point where
But when they replay it again, there's nothing there. Parkinson and the doctor conclude that it's just an abstract shadow where we think we see a human face, but there's nothing. Back at the house, Pamela tells us that one day she went downstairs to get some divorce papers, and the door got stuck as if someone had pushed it from the outside. The girls screamed, "It's Mr. Pipes!" When Pamela was inside, she could feel Mr. Pipes in there with her, breathing heavily in her face. Pamela tried to get them moved to a different house, but the social worker only told her to see a psychiatrist. When their story was published in the newspapers, all they did was make them look like fools or crazy. In the studio, we found out that the doctor had been studying the girl's case long before. The doctor shows a recording where we can hear Suzanne speaking with a demonic voice.
Oh dear God, Susan.
While we listen to the voice of the audio, we can see a figure behind the doctor. Lynn asked Suzanne to mimic the voice in the recording, but she couldn't. They then show more evidence of the poltergeist that haunts the family, such as objects flying and objects being broken or bent. Another piece of evidence is the scratches on Suzanne's face, and Suzanne herself tells us that she felt as if someone was doing those things to her face.
I'd just wake up and it would feel like someone was all over me.
The doctor suggests that it could also be a psychological problem with Suzanne, as the ghost seems to focus more on her. Pamela believes there is a real poltergeist, although Lynn insists that it could be both at the same time. For more impartiality, Parkinson introduces Emilio Silvestri, a former member of the Skeptical Society, the Committee for Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal. As a skeptic, Silvestri obviously doesn't believe in what's happening or in the audio presented by the doctor. Back at the house, Sarah recounts a paranormal phenomenon that happened to her, and Kim tells her it's time to go to bed. So Sarah takes her to her room. While getting coffee, she asks her team how they feel. The sound technician says he felt something like animal scratches earlier, but the scanner couldn't pick it up, and his watch stopped when they went live. After that, Craig goes around the neighborhood near the house to ask people about what's happening. A woman who lives near Pamela says that one night they heard noises coming from Pamela's house. When they went out, they found the window broken and Pamela and Kim crying in the garden. Another woman says that strange things happen in the neighborhood. For example, a girl named Judy Welland disappeared years ago, and to this day, nothing is known about the girl. She also mentions that a 5-year-old boy was stabbed. As Craig continues to interview people, we see pipes in the audience. Back with Sarah. Sarah finds a stain on the carpet, which she insists wasn't there before. She checks the ceiling for any leaks or anything, and finds nothing. The doctor believes it's a manifestation of the poltergeist. Sarah hears a noise in the room and moves the bed to hear it better.
It's moved.
The girls come in screaming that it's downstairs, but the noise stops. They find the girls' drawings scattered on the floor, and when Sarah stands up, we see that the glass reflects her and her team. But who the heck is this? They start hearing loud noises upstairs. But in the studio, they realize it's Suzanne making the noises.
Okay.
Though she insists it wasn't her. Parkinson is disappointed to see that this is a fraud, although the doctor still believes there's something else in the house. Parkinson asks Suzanne about what happened, though Suzanne, crying, doesn't want to answer. Her mother comes to comfort her, and she admits that she did make the noises but speaks in the third person.
We thought you'd leave us.
You thought I'd leave you?
All we were noises to you.
Parkinson tells Pamela that her daughter has admitted the fraud. Pamela, however, insists that they have told the truth, and Silvestri is like, "Ha! I told you it was a fraud." In one of the calls, a woman mentions that her watch stopped when the show started, just like the sound technicians did. Lynn asks to play a video of an interview she did with Kim. Lynn asks if she has ever seen Pipes. Kim describes him as an old man, with eyes covered in blood, bald, and with scratches. He wears a black dress with long buttons. Back with Sarah, Pamela says they hear cats trapped around the house.
Cats running around up there on the ceiling.
Can you hear anything,
Yes.
Sarah?
Yeah, I can hear it now. She's right.
Kim appears saying that Suzanne has something wrong with her. Sarah and Pamela rush to see what's wrong and find her face scratched. Additionally, her body temperature is freezing. Kim says that Pipes is telling them they have to stay. Then a woman calls in and tells us that someone named Mother Seddons used to live in the house. Turns out that Mother Seddons was a nanny. People would give her their children to care for, but Mama Seddons killed them by drowning them in the bathtub.
Thanks for your call, Mary. Thanks very much for calling me.
Back at the house, Kim says she is talking to Pipes, describing him as someone's mother. Pamela and Sarah try to get the girls out of the house, although Kim refuses. When the cameraman takes a shot of the room, we see someone by the curtain. More calls come in, telling us their watches stopped. Others say their radios broke, and more incidents happen to the people watching the show. Back at the house, Suzanne hides in a corner while technical difficulties arise when Sarah tries to speak.
I can't leave them. I'm sorry, I've got to take this out. It's going to be a terrible noise.
We start hearing sounds coming from the walls, and a painting flies off the wall. Then Suzanne starts speaking in a demonic voice. Pamela tries to stop her and asks if she can hear her. Suzanne says yes, but also says, "You messed up. You messed up. I hate you." Sarah looks for Kim everywhere until she finds her by the fridge, where they hear a noise.
What's that noise?
The house starts to shake, the lights flicker, and they realize the noise is coming from the room with the sealed door. The crew opens the door, and we can see a figure in front of it, but then the sound technician faints. We hear Suzanne screaming that someone is touching her until the signal is lost.
Have we lost the link completely?
The signal returns with no sound, and everything looks normal. In the studio, a call comes in from a man who doesn't want to give his name and provides more information about the house. He tells us that a couple who lived in the house rented out a room. The tenant was their nephew, Raymond Tunstall, a man with convictions for sexual abuse, aggravated assault, and kidnapping of minors. This man claimed that there was a woman inside his body, controlling his thoughts and forcing him to do all those heinous things. The paranoia was so intense that he started wearing dresses. Raymond couldn't take it anymore and took his own life. The family had cats that ate the face of the deceased Raymond.
I think this is the onion skin.
After the call, the doctor realizes that the images they are seeing of the house aren't live but were taken earlier. The doctor realizes that they have created a massive seance that gave the ghost more power. The live images return, showing that Pamela and Kim are outside the house, but Sarah and Suzanne are still inside. With the camera's night vision, we see Sarah trying to find Suzanne. We hear Suzanne calling for her mother. Meanwhile, the studio is experiencing paranormal events. Sarah hears Suzanne asking for help from the room behind the door and goes to help her. Sarah enters the room and the door closes.
Sarah? Sarah?
Pipes has taken over the studio, causing everyone except Parkinson to flee. Parkinson wanders around the studio and begins to speak in a demonic voice while cats are heard meowing. And that's how the movie ends. As a curious fact, the number that they showed in the film for people to call was the standard BBC number for viewers to call at that time. Those who called were connected with a message that told them that the show was fictional. But because there were so many people calling at the same time, most only heard an engaged tone, giving more realism to the film instead of reassuring viewers that it was fiction.